Hey guys! Welcome back to another episode of The Letter. Last episode, we are potentially being stalked by another ghost. I think. I'm not sure. Honestly, just thinking of Marianne's story in particular, she seems to not only have a lot of self-doubt, but also she seems to really criticize other people. And I'm not sure if that stems from her self-doubt, but yeah, I still have a number of questions just in regards to, oddly enough, Luke's chipperness. It's really weird. But mainly just the ghost right now. I'm trying to figure out what is going on with the ghost, if there's more than one ghost, or if it's just the ghost is looking like someone Marianne knew in her past. And I got the feeling this person that Marianne seemed to dearly love may have died. And yeah, like looking back at the image of when Marianne was looking at the TV and we see the background, it honestly looks a lot like a school uniform. I'm not sure, but yeah. Not only am I worried about scuffing the expensive leather seats, but I'm also worried about getting in the middle of another couple's spat. With the tension so thick in the air, I can feel them starting at each other any time. Nobody is saying anything. Up until Mr. Wright tells his valet to turn the damn radio off. And for a moment, I think that he might start. But instead, he just stays quiet. And so do the rest of us. In the end, the sufferable silence stays. I would not feel comfortable in that kind of car. I've never been so glad to see a house. Stepping out of the car and up to the mansion meant the end of an uncomfortable ride, and I can finally take a deep breath of fresh air. The beauty of this place never fails to make me gaze and wonder every time I see it as well. Mrs. Wright moves towards the front door, key in hand, and I can already hear Mr. Wright plotting.
All right, Johannes, we're going to go in, but I want you to look around the place. Familiarize yourself with it.
Oh, boy.
Know every nook and cranny, every inch of the lot. Go and see where we can put that vineyard and the other things we talked about.
Oh, this guy needs a pay raise. I think Johannes needs a pay raise.
We'll want to know where to station security as well, so go around the perimeter and figure it out.
Scouts a property and circles a perimeter on foot.
Yeah, there's a lot of ground to cover.
You do know this is 46 acres of land, sir.
Well, you are not driving the car over the grass.
At least give him a bike.
Put those long, spidery legs of yours to good use. I didn't hire you to stand around and look intimidating. Go, mush.
My God. Someday I'd like to ask how Johannes can even stand and tolerate the man. Why doesn't he just quit? Certainly the pay can't be that good. Even I'm a bit put off by our mutual employer, and the only thing that keeps me from bailing is the fact that I've already signed a contract. At least I'll only be working with them during the duration of the project. He works with them every day.
Sometimes I think you hired me to make me suffer for your amusement.
Someday I'd ask if I feel a bit bad for him. Oh, I feel a bit bad for him. I cannot read today. If it's any consolation, he'll be away from Mr. Wright, if only for a little while. We're able to enter the mansion after a bit of standing outside there in the sun. This wretched, strange sunlight that is far too alien and rare. There has been There's been a bit of a problem, with the missus not knowing which key was which. The first item on the agenda would be the grand staircase. It seems sturdy during the open house, but a closer inspection might say otherwise. There are no visible marks of damage nor wear and tear, probably rethreading during the renovations. Peeking under the grand carpet, the wood is properly installed and the bark placed down to prevent cupping. The carpet itself could use a vacuum, though. Structural conditions, from what I can see without actually dismantling the thing, look to be in good shape, and the handrails and support posts are firm. The work on it should be commended. I can't look much more into the rest of the foyer, however, because Mr. Wright starts to hurry us into checking the dining hall.
So, what do you think? Certainly we can't turn this area into a garage.
No.
It's Jacobean architecture. I'd say these would be pilasters and not buttresses, but you never really know.
Is that a Beauty and the Beast reference? I don't know.
They really liked mixing up these elements. You could say it was pretty avant-garde at the time. We might hit a support beam if we're not careful.
And in layman's terms?
From what I see here, we could risk great damage to the house if we try to turn the dining hall into a garage.
The man didn't look too pleased at this. There's a look of disappointment before he sighs and looks around the place with an air of defeat. When he moves to speak, I dread another unreasonable demand. Again.
This will stay a dining hall then. But if I may have another request instead,
Uh-oh.
at least spruce the place up with some flowers, some plants or something. Feels so old and dead in here.
Why do people keep doing that? Stop saying that. I know it's a horror game, but still. Ah.
That's hardly unreasonable. Daffodils are a must, I presume.
The look that passes between the two of them, there is a genuine look of fondness there. This is the first time I've seen such an exchange between the two of them. If anyone are to see them like this, there's little doubt that they loved each other.
Of course, and I want a garden full of them. Now, if you excuse me, I'd like to look at the rest of the house. I'll just be around here downstairs, if anybody needs me.
That leaves Mrs. Wright and I.
He's quite fond of them, you know.
I can imagine. He looked terribly upset when we told him he can't have his garage.
I meant the daffodils. We always have a vase full of them in every house we own. Somewhere. I'd like to think. They may be about his mother. He never talks about her. I don't even know her name.
Really? And you're his wife? How do you... I hope we get insight on Luke about his mother in this, because, wow. Not even his wife knows his mother's name? That says a lot.
He likes to flatter, claim that they remind him of me, but he's always loved the flowers, even before we married.
Much like the piano, I didn't take him for a person who liked flowers. Daffodils, least of all. What's next? Am I going to find out that Mr. Wright saves kittens from burning buildings?
I'll go and snoop about upstairs. You go and do whatever it is that you have to do.
Thank you. When she goes without even asking if I need her here, I'm left standing to stare at the walls. Really, I don't need to do another thorough inspection of the building itself. It isn't really part of an interior designer's job. But the architect in me is committed to doing this task with every project. If I'm going to make a living space that have both form and function, I might as well make sure that the entirety of it is safe for my clients. Since I'm already here, I roam around the dining hall to check things off my punch list, if you will. But when it's time to move on, I hesitate. Mrs. Wright said she would be somewhere around here on the ground floor. Oh, Mr. Wright. Bleh. Mr. Wright said he would be somewhere around here on the ground floor, and I really didn't want to be alone with whiskey. I have to look through this place eventually, sure. But on the other hand, I can do it later when he's gone. I can go upstairs if I want to. Which floor should I go to first? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. We're here on the ground floor already. No, screw it. Ground floor. We're already on the ground floor. Ground floor. Next floor. So on and so forth. Alright, just because there's one troublesome client shouldn't mean I'll let him get in the way of my work. The parlor is my first destination. Mostly because I find Mr. Wright hiding down in the wine cellar and making plans there. I'm going to bump into him sooner or later, but I'd rather make it later. Much, much later. The place, upon closer inspection, is in good shape. I don't doubt this place would have done with the most care, considering it would be one of the first rooms visitors would see during the open house. There's a stain on the carpet, most likely by one of the guests at the time, but it isn't anything a good cleaning can get rid of. Next is the music room. Or at least, that's the plan.
Locked? Oh, come on now.
It's locked? I rattled the doorknob again, harder this time, to double check, and even give it a good budge to see if it isn't a problem with the door itself. But no, definitely locked. That is weird, considering the rest of the rooms aren't. It could just be this one, though, and I can try the other door through the ballroom if I really want to get in. And that's when I hear it. The sound of a piano. Though it just plays one note over and over again, that would creep me the fuck out. I would not be okay with that. It makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand, and I back away from the door. Yeah, me too, double time. Though I wasn't exactly the superstitious sort. What am I going to do? The room is locked. I can just go back to it later. Maybe if I can see through the ballroom and... Hi! Why were you in there? Music room door opens, and who else but Luke Wright stands by the doorway. You're trying to give a person a heart attack? Jeez! He looks like a cat that ate a canary, and I didn't appreciate the way his eyes linger on me.
Isn't it common sense the locked doors mean someone wants a bit of privacy? You didn't try and break the door down. Or did you just want to see me again that badly without the misses?
I am going to punch you.
I don't see why you would, though, Mint. Nothing really happened between us.
Asshole.
Well, I wasn't looking for whiskey. I was just going around to do my inspection. Thought it needed a push, just in case the door was stuck and actually needed repairs.
So you really are some fancy interior designer, huh? Had you told me you were one, I would have called you a piss taker. I figured you'd be, I don't know, an assistant going for a drink after a week with a tosser of a boss.
I'm just glad you thought me any sort of professional with how ossified I was. I must have not looked the part, so I understand your surprise.
He doesn't offer a ready retort when he was quiet for a moment.
At first glance, Hana didn't look like some fancy finance manager when I first met her either.
Huh.
She was the pretty daughter of this rich, powerful man. When she was introduced, they told me that she was not there as the man's daughter, but as a part of management. I thought it dubious. All the beautiful women I knew before her, they used their looks to get what they want. And there she was, with all that she could ever need in life, and yet she works hard to earn her keep.
You have admiration for her. Good.
It sounds like you admire her.
Yeah. Hearing that, I too can't help but feel admiration for Mrs. Wright.
You enjoy your job? Don't you, Mint?
Stop calling me that.
It helps me earn my keep, as you would put it. A bit strange to say out loud, but it gives me purpose as well.
Do you think then that, maybe, Hana would want to go back to being a working person?
Taking aback at his question, I wait for further clarification. What makes him ask this? And why me of all people, right? But, when I see that no explanation is coming, I think, I really think you should ask her.
Shouldn't you be asking her this? Isn't her opinion much more important than that of someone you just met in a pub a few nights ago?
Yeah. Oh. Yay, went up.
You're a woman, and I figured you might know more. I mean, people are always saying that women are fulfilled by having husbands and having a good home. But then, I see ones like you who look happy having jobs. Maybe she's like you, and having a job would be better for her.
Just because I'm a woman? You do know we don't all think the same way. But I don't know, I'm not married or anything, but this shouldn't be a complicated matter. She's your wife for how many years? Talk to her. Ask her what she wants. Don't you guys talk during supper or something?
That gets him thinking. Or at least, it looks like it does.
Well, I should let you get back to work. Thanks for talking with me, I suppose.
Right. But anything goes awry if you take my advice. Just remember that I'm not some marriage counselor. So take it with a grain of salt.
My marriage goes down the shitter, I'll sue you. Noted.
What a dick. A dick with humor. God damn it. Stop. I don't want to like you.
Wait, that's not...
Too late. He takes a step back into the music room, shuts the door and leaves me there looking gobsmacked. He wasn't serious, was he? That man. I don't understand him at all. Neither do I. One moment, he's this huge arse, and then he's this person the next.
Odd guy. Still needs a good arse kicking if you ask me.
Again, who are you? Okay, so forget about going into the music room then. That's fine. He'll have to go out of there sooner or later. In the meantime, I can go around and check the rest of the house. All my worries fade when I step into the ballroom. And well, the whole place is still just grand, isn't it? I can see why the Wrights made sure nobody else would take this place from them. Anyone who has it will certainly be the belle of the ball. It's pretty much one great big status symbol. I don't think I can do much of a thorough inspection in this room, so I note down for later. So I note it down for later. Moving on to the kitchens, I check the ventilation and the general fire safety in the kitchen. This bit is a bit important for a place of this size. I would, of course, suggest bring an actual fire safety inspector over for a more detailed inspection. It wouldn't do to see such a beautiful architecture go up in flames, after all. I take measurements of the countertops, the cabinets, note down what type of wood they use. They wanted some of these recreated to hide modern appliances. There's a loose floorboard in the farthest corner, and some of the others had scratches. But everything else seemed to be in decent shape. Scratches. Wait, the floorboards had scratches? Like somebody was clawing at the floor? My concentration is broken when someone knocks.
You can come in. Door's not locked.
I wait, expecting Mrs. Wright, or the butler to come in. But nobody entered. Instead, there's a knocking again. It's louder, and more urgent this time. I'm pretty sure I didn't lock the thing.
All right. I'm coming. Just hold on.
Oh shit. Please, ghost. When I moved to open the door, though, I realized something. The knocking isn't coming from the door, but from somewhere else. The trapdoor? No! I paused for a second, waiting. But the knocking has not ceased. Oh shit, I actually know. But soon enough, it becomes desperate, the dull thuds from before switching to what seems to be scratching? Despite the instant at once, as if grasping for respite.
Is somebody stuck down there? Dick!
It's a cat? Where did that come from? How did it even get down there? That put the heart crossway. Wait, what? That put the heart crossway in me. It did. I don't know what that means. I love cats, but they have no business giving people a fright. Dang it! Cat jump scare! For a second there, I thought those ghastly rumors about this place had come flooding back. Now peering into the darkness of the open trapdoor gets me thinking. And it gets me curious. Seriously though, I should really make sure there aren't any more surprises from down under. I don't think the Wrights would appreciate it if we found a litter of kittens making a house of their wine cellar. Mr. Wright seems the type to skin a cat if any of his precious wine were to be contaminated. I'm done with the kitchens anyway. Oh, this place is creepy. Needs a good dusting. Going down a flight of stairs while wearing high heels is always a bad idea. Descending into the dark underground only made it worse, but I managed anyhow without any major slip-ups.
These stairs need work, that's for sure.
Surprisingly, the wine cellar is in a good condition. No water damage from last year's flooding, and apart from the dust and cobwebs that have accumulated, the place will likely hold for several more years. Racks and barrels line the walls, making this spacious room look a lot smaller than it is. I'm no expert, but it looks good enough for immediate use without any further additions. Bloody whiskey will be having a field day. I think so anyway, until I feel something crunch beneath my feet. Oh. Whatever a few bottles were left behind here are now nothing but glass under my heels. The cat's fault, I'd wager. It had made a downright mess, with red slick pooling from the remains of a good drink. There's a lot of stuff for it to have been just a few bottles, though. A whole trail of it flows from the end of the room, and I follow, fully expecting a leaking barrel or a whole upturned rack. Instead, it just keeps on going, and it stops in a large puddle, the very back of a wall.
What a waste of wine. Why is it so sticky, though? Ugh.
It's thick, too. Nothing like wine. Oh, shit, is that blood? Of course, it could just be mold.
Maybe it's not wine. Go on, touch it. I dare ya.
Who the hell are you? Okay. That definitely is probably the girl from Marianne's school. Okay. Despite all this, I find myself answering. Because it's her voice. Amy Lorraine. Lovely Amy. Pretty Amy. I can imagine her standing there with me, laughing and pestering me as I did my work in a way only friends can. She was my friend, the only one that I had in St. Samanthan's. I was a scholar, the charity case, in a school for privileged and prestigious young girls. They all looked down at me. they cared to look at me or acknowledge my presence at all. All except her. Sometimes I wish for the good old days, when we were friends. Now she's nothing but a ghost. Though I try so hard to get over her. I really, really do.
What am I, 5 years old? Oh, damn it, it's stuck under my shoe.
I double dare you. Hell, I double dog dare you. Don't be such a scaredy cat. It's probably wine. What else could it be? Blood?
Don't be ridiculous. Why would there be blood down here?
If I was the joking sort, I would have said it might be the reason why the previous owners sold the place. Maybe the ghost stories were actually true, and they wanted to get away from the walls that dripped of ectoplasmic goo, or whatever other ghouls haunted about. Doubt it. I hardly believe in any of that voodoo nonsense as it is. But as I stare at the mess at my feet, probably looking for a fool where I am at, I notice something strange. It isn't visible unless one is really paying attention, but I can see the red gunk seeping through a crack in the wall.
What's this then?
I worry about structural damage and damage to the foundation. I worry about the wine cellar, as the wrong conditions can lead to a deterioration of its contents if temperatures and humidity are not controlled. Up until I see how clean cut the crack is. It runs along the edge of the wall and vertically along it, where a door would be. Pressing my hand against the wall leads credence to the idea as I try to feel where it would give way.
Ooh, could it be an adventure then? A secret passage? There must be a hidden switch somewhere. Go look! This is the most interesting thing you've done by far.
If there's a hidden room here, that could certainly explain the discrepancy in the mansion's floor plans. It wouldn't be too far-fetched to think that there could be hidden rooms and passageways all over the house if we were to follow that logic. And boy, isn't that exciting. This feels like something straight out of a game. Fourth wall breaking. Suddenly, she touches my arm and I flinch away in the shock. That shouldn't be possible. I understand auditory hallucinations, maybe even visual hallucinations. But that was...
You look surprised. What's wrong?
You? That's not possible. You're...
dead.
Aren't you happy to see a dear old friend, though? I'm hurt, I am.
What the hell is going on here?
Oh, isn't it obvious? I've come back for you.
Her face is creeping me out.
So that we can be together again.
When she touches me once more, I recoil. What does she mean together again? She's dead.
No! Leave me alone!
Leave you alone? But I just got here.
I turn around. I'm met with the Wright's butler, who looks at me with an indifferent look. When I look back, Lorraine is gone.
I wasn't talking to you, just thinking aloud is all.
You should really avoid talking to yourself, Kint. Do more of that and others will think you're insane.
Yes, thank you. Is that all you're here for, or has your master sent you running down here for something?
Oh, no, I am just down here to admire the place. I've not been inside before. I thought I would look around before we return to the city. The car is already running, you see, and I suggest you go back to the foyer, unless you wish to be left behind. It seems you are in good company already, after all, with this house and your imaginary friend.
Shut up.
Wait, we're leaving already? But I haven't finished inspecting the rest of the house.
Be that as it may, there's a sulking man-child up there who wishes to go home. We are all subject to his whims, lest he throw a tantrum.
I can't help but smile at that. He's a strange guy. I still can't imagine how he can work for a guy like Luke Wright, though. I imagine the blonde arse ain't an easy guy to get along with. Whatever the butler was having to tolerate that, I want 10 of it.
And we wouldn't want any soiled knickers or spilled milk. Why don't you go head on and I'll be right there.
Very well. Do be careful on your way back. I saw some broken glass on the way, and it will not do to cut yourself on them.
I will, yeah. Just tell Mr. Wright not to blow a gasket or anything. I'll be just a minute.
Speaking of blowing gaskets, there's something else dangerous here. Whatever is behind that door could pose some problems. Best case scenario, I'd only ruin good stocks of wine. But who knows what's behind that false wall? I'll have to come back to it. So I wonder what would have happened if I went upstairs then. It's already dark as we make our way out of the mansion. With no lights, we are only illuminated by the headlamps of the Wright's car and the stars up above us. The sight of them helps me compose myself much more than several minutes of being alone did. The car's engine is running, yet the two still stand out on the lawn. Mrs. Wright is busy, eyes up at the stars. Mr. Wright, arms crossed, has his eyes down to the ground. It is the crunch of the grass under my heels that brings their attention to me.
About time. What took you so long? A minute longer and I'd think the house swallowed you all up.
Please don't say that.
Oh, hush, dear. I'm sure she has her reasons. Marianne doesn't seem the sort to idle.
Sorry, I was just checking on something important.
See, business is business and they take time, love. You should know that better than anyone. So, Marianne, what do you think? Are you the woman for the job? I know we already signed papers hiring you, but I want to be 100% sure that you are committed.
Well, I'm glad you think that. I glanced back towards the mansion, knowing what I had seen there. The curious thing in the wine cellar, which is stuff I'd only read about from fucking horror stories. Well, this is one. And her. I should feel the slightest bit hesitant. I was lucky. I've seen enough films to know what happens when a presumptuous woman enters a haunted house. This is my chance to turn it down, make excuses, say that I'm not up to the task, that I need to take care of my old, sick father. Just pay the fine, which is probably outrageous for a contract like this, and let it go. I should turn it down. But for some obstinate reason, I can't. In the same manner, I haven't let go of her. A regret that has shadowed me since that day. Much as I hate to admit it, even to myself, seeing her again, the mischievous glint in her eyes, the loose tendrils of her hair curled around her forehead. It's something I've terribly missed, and now that it's here, almost within arm's reach, Father would tell me, sometimes you just simply have to go through with it. Consequences be damned. Very true. And well, I really don't have any logical reason to say no. At least, not something a client like the Wrights would want to hear from a professional designer.
It's certainly an interesting project. You can be sure I'm seeing it through the end.
Such dedication! Oh, I do love the determination.
You were always determined like that, weren't you?
Hearing her voice once again sends a chill running down my back. I can't wait for this day to be over. From the mansion and through Anselm, I rode with them in silence. But as soon as we hit city proper, I asked to be dropped off and bid them good night. Yeah, so that is... Okay, this is Lorraine then. So... Did Lorraine commit suicide? Marianne examined the ground floor upon arrival at the mansion, with Luke Wright barring her entry to the music room, She headed to the wine cellar. A ghost of her past visited her there. Despite that, she gave her word that she would see through the project to the end. So that's Lorraine. I thought it'd be best if I didn't stay too long in confined spaces with either Mr. or Mrs. Wright. The other way around, but whatever. Both seemed to cause me serious trouble, and if the project had been any less interesting or grand, I would have dropped it without a second thought. Would have, should have, won't. Wait, no. Would have, shouldn't have, won't. I assure them that my place isn't that far off, and I have to fight off the urge to roll my eyes and groan when whiskey throws me a little smirk. But even in my own home, peace is elusive as I sleep, as is sleep. I lie awake, thinking about what I saw in the mansion, of who I saw. If I so much as hear a single whisper from her, if I so much see a wisp of her hair, I'm afraid I'll go mad. But none of that happens. It makes me feel hollow. For 2 nights, I've had trouble sleeping. But it's only one morning, when fatigue has already let me rest, and I'm reminded of what terrifies me so. What? Oh, she gets a dream, okay. My restless dream, I see that mirror. The one in the study. And in it, I see her. I see them. What the what? Okay. Lorraine and Hana. Yeah, actually they do look kind of similar. It's kind of weird. Hana and Lorraine.
Poor pathetic Marianne. Work, work, work. She'll work herself to death.
Ugh.
See, she doesn't listen. That's all she did. Look at what happened to me.
They talk amongst themselves, with cruel smiles and venomous tongues. Or rather, to themselves, 2 heads, 1 body. Ugh, that's a nightmare. A horrible mockery of these women. As if they were one and the same.
More's the pity. Life goes on and goes out, and she doesn't even see it.
Do you think she'll even realize when she's kicked the bucket herself?
When they say a person has had a hard time telling when they're in a dream, it was true often enough. Even with the bizarre sight, even with the obvious implication that this wasn't real, I can't help but feel distress.
Likely. Is that any way to live at all? She might as well be dead.
I don't like this dream.
Cruel fate that she's alive and I'm... well...
Though they speak into each other's ear, tones low and hushed, I can still hear them as clear as day. Their whispers pervaded the air, heavy and oppressive. They bury and dig into my head like tiny maggots, worming their way into my skull. Ah! Hi! Hello. Creepy ladies. It is only then that they take notice of my presence. Eyes turn towards me, and I cannot feel small under their scrutiny. Caricature smiles etch into their faces, mimicking each other grotesquely.
Oh, Marianne! How long have you been standing there, dearie?
Come join us, Marianne. We won't bite. Unless you ask, that is.
Ugh.
Have you been looking at us? Spying? How scandalous. Such a naughty girl.
I'm sure you were just waiting for something lewd to happen, weren't you?
You know she will not admit it. She thinks it wrong. You've said it so yourself.
Yes. She thought me wrong, impure, abnormal, because I loved her.
My breath. Oh shit. My breath hitches, and I open my mouth to protest, but they stop me, screeching. The mirror that holds them cracks, lines spidering across its surface.
Do not lie! We know the gluttonous thoughts you try to deny, girl. All those desires you bury beneath that sickening guilt. You act the martyr when you turn the bed you lie in into your own hedonistic hell. You are nothing but a tainted soul with filth-stained flesh held together by falsehood and pride.
They look livid, and when it looks like they would lunge, I wake, feeling like the wind has been knocked out of me. With a groan, I squint and find a certain fluff ball sitting on my chest, looking as pleased as Punch. Kitty! Kitty cat! I have one kitty cat in my own bed. She's the overlady of the cats, queen of despair and destruction of nice furniture. Though I can't stay mad at Her Majesty because it feels like she did something good this time. Aw. I was having a nightmare. I can't even remember what it was about. I can! Trying to recall leaves a terrible pit in my stomach. Maybe it's probably better that I don't remember.
Good morning, Baruthiel. Who's the good kitty? Are you hungry? Is that why you woke me up?
See, this is why cats are great. Dogs are great too, but cats are also just as good. A content purr comes from my sweet dear before she jumps off the bed and trots towards the kitchen. On the other hand, it takes me a bit more before I roll out of bed and start my day. Mornings before work is always a quiet affair. Shower first, then a mug of coffee and a bowl of oats. Sometimes I do stretches, and I always check my work email. The Wrights will be moving into the mansion today. I don't think the paperwork is officially done yet, but it isn't too far-fetched to think that they were allowed to start their move despite that. Rich people like them will always find ways to get what they want, after all.
I'll be leaving you again today, Beth. So you behave and make sure not to shred up my new covers, okay? And don't worry, I didn't forget tomorrow is Black Cat Day, so I'll throw you a party. But only if you behave like a proper lady.
She barely gives me a glance as I say that before going back to her own food. Cats. Still better than humans, most of the time. Too bad I have to work with humans. The place is already busy as soon as I get there. Here. The foreman, the one that I've recommended to the Wrights for his work ethic, is early as usual. Already he's instructing men here and there with bigger loads. I have no chance to talk with him as Mrs. Wright appears and greets me with a smile.
Mrs. Wright, I hope everything has been to your liking thus far.
Good morning, Marianne. It has been delightful, and these men have been very helpful. Look at all this. It's so busy here. I'm getting tired just looking at them go.
No complications so far with the movers or the previous owners of the mansion, I hope?
If anything, the only one being problematic is Luke, if I'm to be honest. He can be such a diva, but I do like that about him.
She stops, looking at the upper landing when Mr. Wright comes through with two other movers and a mirror from the study.
Oh, do be careful with that mirror. We wouldn't want anyone getting hurt because of broken glass. Why are you even having it carried around?
Oh? You did say you didn't want the mirror, and I keep getting distracted by it. If I'm going to turn the study into my office, I'd rather not have it there. Where can we put this?
Well, you are not putting it in our room. Why don't you go, I don't know, put it in the wine cellar for now? We can figure out if we'll store it in the attic or somewhere else later, yes?
You heard her, boys. To the cellar it goes. Mush!
Ah! I remember you. I don't trust you. I have a feeling, okay, quick thing. I have a feeling if we had gone upstairs, we would have ended up in the study, and we still would have dealt with Lorraine, sorry. But it would have been through the mirror. I bet you that's probably what would have happened. But that is not this playthrough, that is not this attempt. They'll be on the other attempts. They'll be on the other side when we try the other endings and all that other stuff. Oh, shit. I should have read it, but oh well. An unsettling feeling grows in my stomach as I see a reflection in the bloody thing. That's the mirror from my dream. Mrs. Wright only shakes her head and laughs at her husband's antics as they take the mirror out of here. He's back and at it again soon enough, pointing the men here and there. I'd say he's the man with the plan, but it sort of interferes with the layout and design we've agreed upon before. I'm about to point it out, but...
It's better you let him realize his mistakes on his own, rather than tell him of them. That way you do not get blamed for his actions. It is more fun, too, to tell him, how does they say it? I told you so, once he slips up.
You are enjoying this.
Been working with him long enough to know that, huh?
Okay, I like the butler. God dang it, the butler's great. Can I give him a hug? It's not like I plan to make too much of a fuss, unless what he changes is actually critical, or crucial.
It happens often enough, when one is made to accompany him nearly all hours of the day.
Up, higher, come on now.
Still, he could at least be less pushy about things.
Careful now. I know your pictures are framed by cheap plastic, but those are framed by African blackwood and are one-of-a-kind commissioned paintings.
I remember that.
Each one is easily worth a lifetime of what you lot make.
It is surprising how hands-on he is compared to my usual clientele. Well, the both of them are, actually. It's refreshing to have them participate, despite their initial reluctance.
Luke, do the dishwashers go into the kitchen or the butler's pantry?
Pantry, Buttercup. Careful, that's Emma No, you there, put that down. You do not manhandle a Napoleon Abueva.
Yeah, I remember seeing this before, I think. He really needs to tone down the dramatics a notch. Mrs. Wright and the butler look like they're used to it by now. But the rest of us? Well...
Sweetie, why don't we go and sort your suits upstairs? Let Johannes and Marianne and the foreman deal with the rest of the work.
We have this, Mrs. Wright.
Yes, please do go before a blood vessel bursts. Bloodstains are so troublesome to clean.
Right, that was with Hana's side. Of course I remember hearing it before. Duh! There's an obvious sense of relief as Mr. Wright is dragged out of the room, leaving the movers to do their work in peace. Some grumbling even comes from some of the younger workers. It is a good thing that the family butler isn't some blindly loyal tool to his boss, or there will be some trouble with Mr. Wright.
He is such a bratwurst. Whiny baby who never got enough hugs from his mutter.
Probably lost in translation, and not that I'm condoning talking about someone else behind their back, but I think you meant to call Mr. Wright a horrible brat.
Well, he is that too. There are a lot of things I can call him, but I mean to say that he is a big weenie.
Oh, the butler's great. Okay, Butler. Butler is one of my faves. Seriously? Come on.
A childish name for a childish person. Like a child, he whines when he doesn't get what he wants, and he breaks the toys that he has.
That gets a laugh from me, as well as a few of the movers who linger near. He and I carry boxes, instructing the movers where they should be, and generally taking over Mr. Wright's work. It goes off without a hitch, and the man is helpful, efficient, incapable with physical labor, despite his clean-cut appearance. A gentleman to boot, taking boxes for me when he sees me struggling with them. Speaking of boxes...
Hey, one of the boxes for the kitchen is missing. Has anyone seen it? The one with the pots and the knives.
The Bratwurst had it brought upstairs, thinking it was for the attic.
Why would he... Oh, never mind. I'll go get it.
Why even bring a box of pots and knives to the attic? That man is ridiculous. There's probably not a point. There's probably no point in making sense of what he does if he does them just because he can. At least it turns out that I don't have to make it all the way up to the attic. The mover, probably one of Mr. Wright's orders, left the box on the stairs.
At least it's not that heavy.
I managed to hoist it up without too much effort. But the time it takes for me to do this is long enough for me to overhear an odd conversation I could, never in my life, imagine coming from the couple like the Wrights.
Why, if you're not careful, I might go a bit loopy and I'll start bringing cats home. And soon enough, one day you'll find yourself going home to a farm just filled with felines that follow you everywhere.
I remember that.
Oh, don't bluff. The things would shred up your precious furniture. Besides, you don't even like cats.
True, true. Dogs are infinitely superior here, of course.
Hey!
But what about the wet dog smell? The mess. I'm not cleaning up after a mutt, no matter how cute. If you think about it, a cat would be better.
For once, I'll have to agree with Whiskey on that one, though I can live with Mrs. Wright being a dog person. But as amusing as this conversation might get, I really shouldn't be caught eavesdropping or slacking off on the job. At most, I should be looking at ways of possibly soundproofing certain rooms, perhaps bringing it up if they don't realize the lack of it. I really should move along. No matter how bizarre their conversation might get, I really must go. Not to mention, just standing here when I have no more reason to loiter just feels wrong. Besides, the magic word here is privacy, and I respect that. Keep it in mind, and I won't have a guilty conscience filled to the brim with the secrets of the rich and the famous in my hands. I take the stairs 2 steps at a time if I wasn't in danger of getting stabbed by my baggage, and if nobody else was in the foyer. But as Johannes takes the box from me, I only give him a small smile. There's no reason to gossip about the peculiar conversation of his employers. He probably heard much odder things from them, and he doesn't seem to be a cat or a dog person either. As soon as I follow him into the kitchen, he raises a hand to stop me.
Nein, I know you are a very skilled architect, and I have seen your work. But this shall be my kitchen, and I shall fix it according to my wishes. Yeah?
Yeah. Completely understood.
Kind of weird anyone would think that pots and knives are supposed to go anywhere but the kitchen, huh?
I assume he's gotten them confused. It wouldn't be the first time.
Confused? How does that even work?
Yeah.
I understand covers, carpets, or even curtains getting mixed up. Hey, I'd even understand pots being mixed up with silver decor. But knives?
Oh, he has a collection of ornamental ones from his father. It takes them everywhere he goes, wherever he moves.
He was gonna say something else. Not his father, somebody else. Okay.
I guess that makes sense. A bit.
Still question the knife thing, though.
Still odd.
Yeah. He merely shrugs before going back to work. Alright. Well, that was creepy. And more stuff involving with Luke is still making me question a bit more. And, actually, Marianne, and then there's Rebecca, Ashton, and then Luke. Okay. But yeah, something about this. And I have a feeling we're gonna also have to deal with the ghost of Lorraine rather than the actual ghost of the mansion. That is so weird to me. It's fascinating but weird. But yeah, I don't really know how to put it all into words this time around, guys. I'm sorry. But anyway, guys, that'll be this episode of the letter. I hope you guys enjoy it, and you'll let me know your ideas, your thoughts, whatever, into the comments. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful night, day, week, whenever, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye!